Okay, hi everybody. Back again. We've now got Stu Coulson joining us.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Stu. How are you doing?
For a Sunday morning, when the entire house is completely silent for the first time ever before 9, 9:30, it's quite good actually. I normally by now have got children who've jumped on the bed and oh, can we go and do this, Dad? It's like just go and do it. I want to have a lie in.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but for once ever, the entire house is silent. So
fantastic. I can hear my children upstairs, and in a very short space of time, they're going to be downstairs. So I'll apologise in advance for the additional ambient noise that's going to start piping through my microphone probably in about 20 minutes' time. Stu, I first met you at B-Sides Leeds,
jeez, yes,
and it was on the back of um, the Zoe Rose game, the keynote this year,
yep,
and then we had a chat in the sort of coffee area, and then you came to our talk, which was the first ever Beer Farmers talk,
that's right.
and I believe you found it quite interesting.
I did. I really did.
That's We're not here to talk about the Beer Farmers because that would be very narcissistic. But then winding forward, you got involved very closely in co-organising B-Sides Liverpool,
I did.
which was a super success, and everybody had a really good time. It was very warm, but I think
But
that
what?
has been it's been universally acknowledged it was incredibly warm.
Yeah,
And then not long after that, I discovered that you and I live around about 3 miles away from each other,
yeah,
which
that's
is
true.
which is kind of really really weird and bizarre. Um, but anyway, enough of the nostalgia.
Northern
Would you mind?
hackers and all that.
Yeah, we're kind of brothers, really, really. But tell us a little bit about who you are and what occupies your time in terms of the job.
So I'm yet another security wonk who's been around the industry for way too long than they should have been, and is tired and is kind of, I suppose, I've gone through the roller coaster of it all. I actually started off as a sales guy at NCC Group selling technology escrow back in its time. I ended up doing ISO compliance for them, left them. I've done a lot really. It's normally been front end on client side. But one of the things I realized at an early age was I was always given really tough accounts. I mean, I'll show my age and say Logic, CMG, EDS, companies like that, the no names policy. I think we'll go back into the days of cold calling
Yeah,
rather than just go on LinkedIn, control F, find names done. And it was just one of those things that it was just the way I did it. And I ended up doing sales training for quite a while, actually, training just under 400 people on how to do 7 steps of the sale, A to spin, and really just how to dig into human beings. Nowadays, it's called social engineering. It's called many things actually, but from my perspective, it was in those days just the way I sold. And I still remember to this day having a hand pop on my shoulder and someone going, "You're really good at social engineering." To which point I took the headset off, and because I want this to be clean, I said a lot of profanities and told the guy to go do one because I was on a phone call.
yeah,
And it really took me about another 10, 15 years before I understood that when you start talking, if you ask the right questions, they just somehow like this firewall drops. So let's put it in technical terms. The firewall drops, you get an any rule, and just everything comes at you.
yeah.
And I really enjoyed it, and so I've used that an awful lot to get to positions of interest. Really, I've created a pathway in front of me. For example, I was made redundant from a company which I don't want to mention, but I then spent 6 months, and because this, part of this is going to be around mental health. I didn't realize that I was massively depressed for 6 months, and I really lost faith in myself. I have no qualifications to my name apart from ISO 9000 lead auditor. I want to be an infosec, and I have nothing behind me to prove that I can stand in the circuit. We call that on many different guises this kind of kind of fakery, and I've heard it called all sorts of stuff. But actually, what it came down to was just sheer not a simple depression.
Right.
And off the back of that, I did a last ditch effort. Got to do this. Got to do this right. And I went down to London with the last 50 quid in my pocket, and I went to a conference which was for DV and SC cleared jobs fair, to which I don't hold either of those, but as you do, you get yourself into these things.
Of course you do. Yeah.
And that's where I met Cybersecurity Challenge. And I'm no longer with them, so I can talk openly about them. But actually, that was probably the best mental health exercise I've ever done in my entire life. I was with them for 4.5 years. And for those who don't know, they are a not-for-profit that was originally set up by a cabinet office to get people jobs in cybersecurity. And I know there's an awful lot of the Money Hats Club and people out there who owe careers in cybersecurity simply down to a short, very small group of people who got them that first leg up the ladder. Because very similar to myself, the career path said, I'm a farmer, I'm a postman, I'm a whatever. And under normal circumstances, you won't get a job in cybersecurity like that.
No.
And exactly the same way it was with me. Someone gave me the break. The good thing about them was they had a structured way to do it. So pretty much everyone who came through them ended up with a job in cybersecurity. And that really was a good self-affirming point for me, because I ended up at that point realizing I have got some skill set. I have got some reason to stand with my head above my shoulders in this industry. I won't go into the to the shake of where the money went to. So they were funded by DCMS, and you don't have to go too far back into history books to look at where DCMS spent its money recently and how well that went.
Yeah.
And they didn't get their funding, so I was made redundant, which was quite earth-shattering for me at the time, because it was 2 weeks before Christmas, exactly 12 months ago.
Sure.
And off the back of that, I fell straight into contractor life. So as of right now, I'm a freelance contractor who's just finished 9 months at a government department, which has been really interesting, doing security education awareness for 3,000 techies, whereby most of them are contractors. And this is an interesting piece I'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
The old land of IR35 and why I think the government needs to change its mind. And it's literally been a sit down with a blank piece of paper with the largest government department out there and work out how the hell you're going to attack a problem. And it has been absolutely brilliant, because the self-affirmation of 4.5 years of helping other people help myself get into a really good space to be able to go, right, what can we do? Where can I use my skill set best? And it's panned out all right, actually.
Excellent. So I guess working for yourself, working as a contractor, all the freedom comes with that. And I think, we're all aware of how that works.
Yep.
How, obviously, you don't work, you don't get paid, and you don't get paid if you're sick, and you don't get paid if you're on holiday and all that kind of stuff. How do you fit that around your life? Because it's something that it's interested me to a point, the idea of going contracting. But I do like and I do value that kind of being on the payroll arrangement, where you've got benefits and you do have a safety net, as it were. So how are you finding that?
If I'm totally honest with you, I changed my life by zero. So my
Right.
business takes all the money. So let's say, and for those who don't know how it works, I've got a company, it's called Hidden Text, that takes all my money. So let's say I'm just going to pluck a number out of the air, I'm on £100,000 a year,
Yeah.
right? So that's my contractor's rate, and that's how much I'm going to get paid. All that money comes into Hidden Text, like a massive big bath full of water, swimming pool full of water. At the back of it, I've got a little tiny hose pipe which drip feeds into my normal bank account. The stuff that you and I go to Tesco's, go shopping with, go to the pub with tenner in your back pocket.
Yeah.
So I actually go to my tax threshold in my normal wage, which keeps me under all the nice tax brackets, etc. So if I'm off ill, my company still has money to pay for me to be off ill. So
Right.
as long as the money's in the business, I can take out of it just a small amount. And the bath's still full of water.
Sure.
So that means that when it comes to the end of the year and I've finished my contract, as I am right now, feet up in the lounge with the feet up, if I'm going to spend £2,000 on a training course, because InfoSec's expensive, I can do. I can just go and spend the business money in a business way to get me up the next rung of the ladder. So right now, for those who know how hard life is in certificates, I'm going to start with my Sec Plus, my CompTIA Sec Plus, not sponsored. And I'm going to start with doing some certification, but I'm able to do that because I bankrolled all the money.
Yeah.
And I'd say to anybody who wants to go contracting, number one, take a really long, good, hard look at yourself and create 3 lists. List A is everything I am guru at. Be honest with yourself. We all know we're good at some stuff.
Sure.
Okay. Write it down that list. Then go to list C. All this stuff over here, I have no idea on. Do not ever sit Stuart Coulson in front of a firewall and tell him, can you add me a rule for whatever. I have no idea what I'm doing. And then in the middle, you've got stuff which, well, I'm okay at it. I'm kind of a bit, maybe I wouldn't say genius at it. Maybe I know some stuff. Okay.
Yep.
If you've got those three there, you now know you can't suffer with imposter syndrome, because I know what I'm fighting with. I've got stuff over here I know. I've got stuff in the middle I'm grey with, and I've got stuff over here I don't know about. If you want me to stand on stage and talk about how to set firewalls up, I'm imposter. If you
Yep.
want me to stand on stage and talk about my grey list in the middle, I'm never going to give you any detail from stage, and it's probably pretty obvious that I don't know a lot about it. If you want me to talk to you about how to, phone Microsoft's main center data bank of 7 secretaries who looked after Bill Gates when he was CEO, I'll tell you how to do it.
Sure.
That's my specialty. That's where I was at the time. And as a result of that, it makes it a lot easier, because when you bid for work, when you start looking at, okay, I want to be a contractor, well, what are you going to do? What's your day-to-day job going to be? You need someone who's got a gap on the other side. So now you need to sell yourself in a specific way. And again, we're not all adepts at selling ourselves.
True.
And it definitely comes with long, hard slog. I was quite fortunate that my contract actually came to me and said, we need you. So it made I didn't have to do much selling that day. But I'm in salesman mode at the moment. Not right now, but just got the new website launched, and I've done all the hard slog of actually sat down identifying services and rate cards and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, is contractor life good? Oh yeah, it's brilliant. Not for the money side either. The money's good. I would not shy away from that. Money is always good in contracting. What's really good is freedom. So here's a challenge to you all. A day to write a blog which is close to what your company does, and see how many minutes it takes before marketing asks you to take it down, or the CEO comes along and says, but my name's not on that. I wanted to be on that.
Yeah.
And that's when you start realizing, as a contractor, you can say what the hell you like, whenever you like, and you can say it to whoever you like. And that's pretty good.
And the only person that you're responsible to, of course, is yourself, right?
Yeah, it's your personal brand. And that was given to me many, many, many years ago. And, he's not the CEO anymore, but Rob Cotton, I'd give him a shout out. Thank you very much for that one. Personal brand is most important. It was a really big life lesson for me, that personal brand is really important. So I have a persona which people know me by on the conference circuit. I was really interested in listening to Ray Redacted on that, how about our echo chamber. We have a really small echo chamber. When you meet me at an InfoSec circuit, you meet Stu Coulson, you meet me as me. If you see me stood on the stage, very different person.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to also have that, is to have your characters, because you're going to need them in contracting to sell.
Yeah.
But yeah, go for it. AppSec bloke, get yourself on the contractor circuit. Brilliant.
I'll give it some thought over the Christmas period. But I think you're right about the build your brand thing. I mean, it's something I learned from Troy.
Mm-hmm.
He did a talk at NDC Oslo last year, I think it was. And it's not a technical talk. It's a talk about your personal life and how you can break out of your bubble and do new things and change your life fundamentally, make a real change to who you are and your personal circumstances. And it started in his example with what you described, really, which is building a brand. So create an identity, and that's you, and stick with it. Don't mess around with it. Be very careful how you are with people, because that could bite you on the arse sometime in the future. And slowly work it up, because what you're effectively building is a body of evidence around your ability and around your experience. And ultimately, what you're building is trust, and that people know that they can trust you, and that what you're saying is valuable and is valid. And that can lead to opportunities, and that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, you can find new career opportunities, you can find new ways of earning money in a way that you'd never possibly imagined. And I think that's what it's all about.
I totally agree. We've all got something we can give, whether it's go and find a local charity. So there's a charity that I help out, and they've got the best name, of hypoparathyroidism.
Wow.
Go look that one up. And I've helped them out year on year, just little bits, just give them a nudge here and a nudge there, free of time. But I've learned through my time doing that, other things about myself and knowledge that I knew or didn't know I knew. Is that do you remember? you remember that thing that was like conscious knowledge and then unconscious knowledge and
Yes, it's
that
unconscious incompetence all the
that's
way
the
through
one.
to conscious competence. Yeah,
So
or
today
unconscious competence. Yeah,
I think that's an important matrix that I think a lot of people should play in. I think we should all learn a bit more about ourselves. Um, I think it definitely helps from a mental health perspective because my mental health's never been in better shape. Um, and I am a lot stronger than I've ever have been because now I know what my quadrants are and playing with. And sure, B-sides Liverpool was a really, really hard gig in terms of setting it up. Never done any of that stuff. I was really out of my comfort zone. But I played to strengths and weaknesses I had on it, and we had a good conference as a result. Um, and it's really important that I think people remember that. I've just spotted Sailor Bikers floating around as well. I gave him some tips on how to stand on stage, and stuff like that. I can give that as information and data that people could then go and use to enhance their own quadrants.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm actually sat with my beer farmers here for you drumstick in my hand at the moment. So
Oh, you star.
there you go, a bit of a rattle on that one. But
Oh,
yeah, I think
fantastic.
definitely here for you is something we need to remember. We are a really small community. We are a small group of people who fight against some really interesting adversaries. And from a mental health perspective, we need to team up a bit more. I owe Daniel Card beer. I'm going to say that publicly, by the way,
We heard you.
because it's there are people like that in the industry that are out there doing good, stand at the front end. I don't owe some other people beers because I've already paid my debts with them people. But equally, I'll always buy a beer for most of the beer farmers guys because I know that you guys fight really hard from the front lines. And hashtag here for you.
You're very
Um,
kind.
it's
Very kind.
important. In fact, 3 miles away, you and I need to go and have beers, coffees, and all sorts of other substances.
Agreed. Agreed. I
We
think
shall
we'll try.
make
We'll
that
try and
happen.
get that happening sometime over the next few weeks. I'd really like that.
That
Um,
sounds like a plan.
just in the last couple of minutes we've got,
Yep.
what's coming up for you? So 2020 is going to be a big year, right? So what you got going on?
Get another contract to be a good start.
Yeah,
But no, for this year, qualifications, that's going to be a big thing. Actually get some body of evidence under my belt that actually knows stuff. I've been helping IISP now called CIISEC out. Give them a shout out because they're doing some really interesting stuff around professionalizing our industry. I think that's going to be where I'll probably play a lot in the space this year is more about, okay, so you're good, show me, try me, prove me. I think that's quite an important thing that I need to start doing a little bit more of with some of the people I interact with. I hear a lot of people telling me they're good at InfoSec. Okay, show me what you mean by that. Um, because unfortunately, one of the things you do come across as a contractor, you're hired as a subject matter expert. There are other people around you who are playing in that space who don't necessarily play to the same grade as you. They know stuff, but they're playing at a much higher grade around you, and they need to step up to the plate a bit more. And I think that's important, not to call out the fakers, but at least have a quiet word with them to say, look, you're not playing in the right space. You need to play in these spaces and play a bit harder and faster. Our adversaries are tooling up like we've never seen them. I think 2020 will be quite a big year from that. And in terms of my predictions, dear HMRC, if you are listening to this, you are about to have a really big issue. In the UK, we have a technical debt of 55,000 people. Some people call it cyber skills gap. People call it all sorts of stuff. We currently have 55,000 vacancies that are not filled. We do not have a workforce beyond it to actually recruit into that space, not for about another 5 years. I have hope in the industry, by the way. I think 5 years time we will have, but right this second we don't. However, there is another technical debt on top of that of the contractor layer. There's about, I don't know, let's call it 100,000 people who are contracting in the UK. I don't know
yeah,
what the number is actually. So our technical debt is actually 150,000 people, not 55.
yeah.
I th-
Wow.
and I think that that's actually the issue that this UK, we do not understand. In the olden days, they used to be called temps. We now call them contractors. A temp used to be hired with a permanent position available to recruit somebody into who then took over that permanent role. We don't have that nowadays. We have a temp who come in, they'll do the job, they'll walk away, and there's now a gap left in the business.
Yeah,
Due to IR35, thousands of people are now out of place, sat or like I am with the feet up on the bench, and we are ending up with businesses we've got issues now going to happen because of that. We're going to have, and I suspect in the next 3 months, someone's going to have a data breach and they're going to cite IR35, lack of contractors helping them build the systems as being their reason for the hack.
Disaster waiting to happen, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right, Stu. We are out of time.
Awesome.
But that was absolutely fascinating. Always enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, I did.
And we will definitely get a beer on at some point over, if not before Christmas, certainly as soon as we can after Christmas. That would be awesome.
That sounds like a plan. And if anyone else wants to join us, I'm always up for a beer or a brew. I don't drink tea or coffee. There's a blog in there somewhere. But I do drink. But I do drink. There is actually I've actually written a blog about that. But I do drink hot chocolate. So if anyone fancies a hot chocolate, I do those.
Sounds good.
But yeah, always up for a chat with anyone who wants to.
Great. Thank you very much, Stu. Thanks for your time, mate.
You take care. Have a good one.
You too. All the best. Cheers.